Introductions set the stage for our presentations. The opening is probably the best way for you to make a strong first impression on your audience. And there's also a simple framework that applies to any presentation that you can use to master openings. And that's exactly what we're covering on this week's episode of Master Talk. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Brendan from Master Talk here, your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And today we're covering my framework for introductions and how to master them in almost all situations. So let's get into it. My introductions generally have three parts to them. Let's talk about the first one. The first one is I always use a powerful example to reel my audience into what I want to say. So that example is generally related to something the audience can relate to and is already experiencing. Let's take the company WestJet, which is a Canadian airline in the world. One aspect I love about WestJet is the founding CEO of the company used to bring cupcakes to his employees to get feedback from them and how he's doing as a leader and as someone who's running the company. That was something that really spoke to me because if a CEO takes time out of his day to bring cupcakes to flight attendants, it means he really cares about the people in his organization. And notice how the more powerful the example speaks to you as the presenter, the more powerfully it'll come out to your audience. So when I start my presentations in that context, when I presented to WestJet, I started like this. Mr. Badeau, when you started WestJet, you had a dream to make Canadian travel more affordable for everyone in the country. And you were able to achieve this goal. But why have you been able to do this? And the main reason is the people in your organization that you've always asked feedback from, even if it meant giving them a couple of cupcakes along the way. So notice how that's very specific and speaks to the core audience that I'm speaking to. So if you're able to keep that in mind, you can reel your audience in with a very powerful example. Number two, what is the impact of that example on the organization, the audience I'm presenting to? Back to the cupcake example with WestJet, the way it impacts the organization is it creates an amazing work culture, people who are empowered to make a change, and more importantly, people who want to provide the best customer service to every Canadian who's traveling on their airline, in the same way that Southwest Airlines does the same thing in the US. So in that regard, there's always a way for you to pull examples or learnings from the initial statement that you put in an introduction in a way that speaks to your audience. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a company either. It could easily be a research thesis. Let's say there's a key finding in your thesis. Even if it's very complicated, by explaining the impact of that example to the entire field or the world in general, you're really speaking to the hearts of your audience and you're really driving your point forward, whether it's the goal of your presentation or in a way that speaks to your audience. And finally, number three, the explanation of why you're here and the key idea you want to drive. Now that you've elaborated on the impact you want to make and speaking to your audience and getting them excited about your presentation, now it's time to tell them why you're here and why you're the perfect person to be presenting the topic or situation at hand. In WestJet's case, what I did is I explained the current situation they were in, which was their technology wasn't adapting to new types of airlines. And I drew an analogy from that current situation to saying, hey, you have amazing people, you have an amazing organization. Now all that's left is to tie in the technology so you can move forward as an organization. In my keynotes for Master Talk, my key idea at the end of my introduction is always the following. Public speaking, much like leadership, isn't something you're born with because I guarantee you I wasn't either. And that's exactly why I'm here today, to help you master your talk. And then I introduce myself. That key idea that summarizes your entire introduction really sets the stage for your presentation and excites your audience from the first second that you start. And then after that, for your introduction, you could say something like, good afternoon to the board of directors of WestJet. My name is Brendan from Flow Consulting Group, and today we're going to be helping WestJet tackle the next level of its growth so it can become a world leader in airlines. So in that same way, you're able to introduce yourself in a powerful way and set the stage for your introductions. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of Master Talk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. And I'll leave you off with this. Introductions aren't easy. So if you know someone that wants to get better at openings, that wants to start their presentation in such a powerful way, be sure to send them this video so that they'll be one step closer to mastering their talk. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time on Master Talk.